Good morning. I brought you down to see a couple of really nice trees I'm going to take some cuttings from. So I'll just turn the camera around and show you. This is the first one. This is a Japanese maple. It's down the canal near me. It's a gorgeous tree. Look at that, someone's just planted it. Lovely. And the leaves are absolutely gorgeous. They're this beautiful green colour. So I'm going to take some cuttings from these. This is perfect for a cutting. This is sort of last year's growth that's hardened off, but it's not super woody like this stuff in here. So I'm just going to take a couple of cuttings from this one, but there's another tree. Look at this. This is an absolute stunner. Beautiful. What a gorgeous tree. And this is about, I'd say that's about 11 foot tall, maybe 12 foot tall. I don't know what variety it is, but the leaves are absolutely gorgeous. Look at those. Stunning. And again, it's got some nice sort of hardened off growth. So I'll just take a couple of cuttings off this, take them home and plant them up. So I just wanted to show you these gorgeous trees. I love when I come walking down here. I just love to see them, and they go a gorgeous colour in the autumn as well. So I'll see you back at mine. I was on my way home and I thought, let's go to my sister's because I know she's got one of these. So this is an Acer palmatum altipurium. It's got a lovely purple leaf, and it's got that kind of interesting trunk, which is very nice. This is a lovely tree. She said I can actually have this tree if I want it, but I might possibly come and do an air layer. I've got my eye on that interesting piece going up the centre there. I might do that in the summer, but in the meantime I thought I'll just come round here and collect a couple of these cuttings. So I think something like that will work well. This more woody cutting from last year. So you didn't really see me collecting my other ones, and all I did is I just do that. So I'm going to collect a few more of those and then go home and get them potted up. Right, what I've got here, I couldn't resist it. I'm round at my sister's and she's got another Acer. Come in and let's see what I'm doing. This is a dissectum. Point the camera down here. This is a dissectum, so it's like a lace type leaf. Beautiful they are, these. Gorgeous. And I'm going to just do some cuttings again from this. So all I do is, if you just zoom in on this one here, this is a hard cutting from last year. This is this year's growth. So I'll just take that off and I'll do a few more of those. Good afternoon. I'm ready to pop these Acers up. Look at those. That's better than any flower display, isn't it? Gorgeous. Now what I've got here is, I've got a tray, plastic tray, with individual seed trays that fit inside. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, fill them with compost. So I've just knocked this up myself, this potting compost, and I watched a few videos on YouTube and I read a couple of articles, and basically I know that Acers like an acidic soil, but I also wanted to use perlite because perlite's going to give great drainage. So what I did is I went and bought some ericaceous compost. So ericaceous compost is acidic, so it's great for things like rhododendrons, azaleas, blueberries, that kind of thing. And I've mixed it with the perlite, so with the combination of the two it should be fine. And I've also added some sand. So I didn't add the granule sand that I often add into the other mixes, because for seedlings and cuttings it's a bit coarse. So what I add is a plastering sand. I used to be a plasterer for my sins, and plastering sand is washed because you need to make sure it doesn't have any salts and that kind of stuff in it. So it's a washed sand, so it's actually really good for, and it's quite coarse, well draining, so it's ideal for planting in. So I've added about a quarter, the maths is going to get hard if I say a quarter sand, let's say 20% sand, 40% perlite and 40% ericaceous compost. And all I'm doing is, as I say, spreading it out, pushing it down a little bit, because I do need it to have, it can't just be too light, because it's got to hold the cuttings in place. It's really important that those cuttings don't move about. So there we go, that's a good start. And I'm now going to do the same in the other pot. Right, that's both seed trays filled. So time for a bit of maths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 24. I've got enough space for 48 individually planted cuttings. So I'm going to start with these, well, I don't know what variety they were. They were the gorgeous yellow ones. And what I'll do is remove the bottom leaves, and then I'm going to cut just beneath that spot, which is called a node, where 2 leaves came out. And then I need to remove some of these other leaves because there's just too many leaves there. That's it, 2 leaves. Cut off below a node, that's perfect. And I forgot my rooting hormone. I'll be straight back. There we go. This is the rooting hormone I use. It's just off Amazon or something, I don't know. Just rooting powder. I think you can pretty much use any you like. And all you do then is dip a hole in the soil. Dip it in the rooting hormone, put it in the soil fairly deep, push it down, and that's done. I would have liked it a little sitting a little higher than that. That's probably not ideal actually. Now for this one, this is a better cutting, this one. So I'll just remove the leaves. So this is a bit thicker, and it splits into 2, which is perfect. I'll cut it just below the nodes. I want to get it down to 2 leaves if I can. Perfect. And dig a hole into the rooting compound, and there we go. And I just continue that on. So they're the yellow ones. As I say, I don't actually know what variety they were. These are the greens. So I like how this splits here. I think this will make a good cutting. Down to 2 leaves into the hormone. There. So I'll just do the yellows on this side, the greens on this side, and then carry on from there, see how far I get with this pile. Right, that's all the yellow and the green ones done. Now I've got these dissectum and the standard kind of ultracurium, which I'm just going to do. I don't think I'm going to have space for the dissectums in this. Well, I thought you'd be bored of the time lapse by now, and I just wanted to show me planting a few of these. I've got into a bit of a system as I was working my way through, and it's really just looking for a nice double bud, cutting off at that. I've seen on the videos they quite often leave a V and then go further up and cut the main section out of the V, so it kind of splits into 2 and then splits into 2 again, and then they remove 2 of these leaves. That seems to be the sort of way that they do it. So you can see how much bigger those leaves are. If I'm honest, having done these, my confidence is a little bit low. I don't know, they just don't feel like these are going to live. You know, sometimes you get that feeling. I've basically got almost no confidence that these are going to make it. Why is that? They just feel limp. I'm guessing I've got them at the wrong time of year, really. I tried to do some research online as to when is the best time, and it's really hard to find that information out. You know, they say spring is a good time, and then they say later in the year is a good time, sort of June, July. I'm going to try a few different times of year, you know, because the thing with these is you're not paying for them, so I can afford to experiment a bit and just sort of try and see what works. And if they all fail, or both trays, I mean, ultimately, that's not really a failure. Maybe I sound a bit American when I say that I failed, but it's not a failure. But to me, I'll have learnt. So I'll be experienced this time next year. When it comes to doing it, I'll know, no, I'm too early on those, it's not worth it, leave it till later in the year. And this is all part of the, you know, the bonsai journey. I suppose there's no better better ways. What I did then is I pulled it off the main trunk. That's called a heel cutting. When you pull it off the main branch, it leaves like a heel, and apparently they're sort of the best ones, to be honest, for taking. So perhaps this has got a chance. They do actually feel quite good, these purple ones. They feel a bit more healthy. It was really these green ones. Sound very professional, don't they? People go around using all the botanical names, and I've got yellow ones, green ones and purple ones. But as I say, I just don't know what variety they are. In time I'll go online onto Bonsai UK on Facebook, and someone in there will be able to tell me. There's a lot of knowledge in that group, and you know what people are like. They love telling people how much they know. No, it's not really like that. It's a good group and they're really helpful. So if you know, when I've got questions, I can just ask a question, and there's some good people in there giving you good advice, which is always helpful. That's why I think it's easy to learn bonsai now compared to, you know, years ago. There's so much information available online that there's kind of no excuse. I don't believe it takes 20 years to learn how to do bonsai nowadays. It's a bit like photography. You know, they used to say it's 10 years to learn to be a photographer. But nowadays they reckon you can roughly learn in 10 years, in 1 year, what used to take 10 years to learn. Just because of the amount of information available. I mean, if you think about going to university, it's, you know, it's just the same, except nowadays we're teaching ourselves. And I've watched Peter Chan's videos. You know, some people are a bit harsh on Peter Chan. You know, I call him Chopper Chan myself, as I said in the previous video, but when it comes to propagation and this sort of thing, he does know what he's talking about because he does it for a living. You know, this is his business. You know, he's in the business of making money by propagating plants, and he shares that information readily online, which is very generous, really. I still think it's generous. I'm not really sharing information in that way because I don't really know. I'm kind of going off what they suggest and then just passing on. I'll be passing on the results to you. And when you check out the follow-up video that I'm going to do, you'll be able to get some nice sort of free learning off me. Let me do the experimentation, and then you can have a look on the video and say, well, yeah, they all died. They all died, I'll give that a miss. And maybe that's the case. We won't know. Apparently it's about 3 weeks until they put roots down. So it won't be too long. Should have a pretty good idea fairly soon as to whether these have worked. It's not like a lot of bonsai where you're waiting years to find out whether things have worked and that kind of thing. But with this, it's fairly quick. I'm getting to the end now, and actually these 2 trays are going to work out absolutely perfectly in terms of the right amount of holes. 48 holes, it's almost to perfection, and I didn't count it or anything. Must just be my lucky day. sound like, see, look at that. That surely can't make it. So limp and feeble. But you never know. I'll give it a try. I have the same attitude with, you know, Yamadori and collecting trees. If you've gone to the hassle of collecting them, then you've always got to try and give them the best shot. You kind of owe it to the tree. And the last one goes in there. So all I'm going to do now is water these, put them outside in my garage, my workshop. I've also got a container, a lid for it, so this can have this go on at night. It's got vents in it, and you know, put it out in the day. It'll keep it. I'll probably just put a brick on the top, stop the wind blowing it off, and see how these do. And I'll come back to you in a few weeks, and it'll just be a load of shriveled up stems. That's my guess, but who knows? Maybe it'll be full of life. Well, thanks for joining me today. I've enjoyed this little putting together this little video, and if you've enjoyed it and you want to find out what happens in a few weeks, hit that subscribe and you'll be able to see the results. So have a nice day.